A few posts ago, I made a image of myself holding my former self and who I am now as a founder hand in hand. And I pretty much wrote about what I would tell my old self if I could go back in time right when I was being laid off. If you haven't seen me before, my name is Erin Reddick. I'm the founder of Chat Black GPT. I basically got laid off in 2023 and I used my severance to launch my startup. I've been independent ever since, and I like to encourage people to try and maybe take that leap and see if they can have a little bit more courage or confidence to try something new just in case something does happen, or if there's something that you want to try that you haven't had the confidence to try. I'm hoping to inspire people to take the steps that I took so that they can be where I'm at on the other side of a layoff, or even if they just decide to leave corporate or their job at all. So I just want to show a little bit of hope and a little bit of what can happen when you are just tenaciously going after your dreams and your ideas and making those things real. So I was going to start by kind of reading some of my posts and also looking into the comments. So when I wrote this, it was because somebody from my old workplace had messaged me that Friday or whatever day it was going to be their last day. And I kind of was taken aback. What was beautiful about it is that they were reaching out to me to ask a little bit more about my journey and how I'm doing what I'm doing now. And that full circle moment just felt so empowering and the right moment to share what I wish I knew back then when I was first getting laid off, because I couldn't have envisioned the life that I'm living now. I could not have envisioned this ever. And so I just wanted to break down the post a little bit further and just really pay respect to the conversation that's happening. So many just quietly lost their jobs, lasting only a few more years than I did just to meet the same fate. No headlines, outrage, or sensationalization. The pain doesn't change just because it's not loud. I just can't imagine. Back when I got laid off, there was so many headlines. There were groups spinning up. There were blind posts like on fire, Reddit on fire, Facebook groups that were just ding, 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 going crazy. And wave after wave, we would all join each other like this group of people who had been just too far out from shore and got swept away is what it felt like. And to lose your job now when it's almost like the norm to be laid off, where we're not getting these big headlines that it's like, oh my God, this tech company laid off all these people. It's like another round, another round. It is just so, it has to be so awful and isolating to go through that even more alone than people were a couple years ago. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that, yeah, we're not seeing it blasted like we did in 2023 everywhere, and how the tech companies were shamed and people getting laid off were interviewed. Now it's just like become a normal routine part of working in tech. And it is so sad to see that. And that's why I put that. Just because it's not in these headlines doesn't mean it doesn't hurt when you lose your job. So I wrote, here's what I would tell myself with what I know almost 3 years later. You are so much more than this one job. I can't explain how serious I am when I say that. When you're in a job and that's what you've been assigned to do in your mind, to be the best, whatever that job is the only thing that you're focused on. No matter what you do, you tie it into how you can improve your positioning in that one role. And your whole identity sometimes can get wrapped up in just being that thing. But we're so much more than our jobs. We're so much more than that. But it's really difficult in the midst of being an employee to see that. You're attached to the illusion of access, the badge, the buildings, the exclusivity. You feel special when the doors open because that's what you were told. But you're walking in these doors every day to give your genius away. This is probably one of the more silly things that I look back on and I think about. The way that I felt when I could hear it in my head. I was like, every door. I would go to different states and go to different offices and visit just because I knew my badge would open the door. And it would be fun to see what other offices look like. It was just like this thing I was addicted to, that access that I had, that badge with my face on it and the little circle. I was so into it. And it really didn't mean anything except I was allowed to go in there and work and give away all my best ideas, all my best effort, all my best hours in the day. That was my job, to dedicate that to the workplace. And somehow I had felt so privileged to do just that. And I'm not dissing tech. I'm dissing the illusion and the Kool-Aid that was sold that it's more than just a job. It's a job. It's a job that you can lose. It's a job that many of us lost. Impact echoing off walls instead of landing in hearts. You go in at 7 a.m. and come home at 7 p.m. because work became your escape, but you cannot outwork the inner work. A 24/7 office with endless food isn't a perk. It's a system designed to benefit from your lack of boundaries. That's probably the realest thing I've ever put on the internet. Honestly, like, I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to go home. I had heard once that if you can't finish your day in an 8-hour workday, then you're not really that good at your job. And that is so not true. Sometimes you're better than what the job is asking for, and your mind makes you insecure. So then you create work on top of your work, and you stay late and you go in early to feed that part of you that wants to make something more out of what you were handed, because that's just part of your genius. You expand upon things. I would take a task this big and make it this big because I wanted to deliver. And they like that in places like that. So for me, 4/7 offices where I can walk in at any time, not good, not good. And when I say 24/7, I mean, I forgot my phone on my desk. It's 3 a.m. I can go there and open it up and walk in. That was not good for somebody who didn't have boundaries in their workplace. And sometimes I would start working in the middle of the night. Nobody cared. I got to know the people who cleaned the building. That's how much I was at work. You don't need access. You need alignment. Other futures are waiting on you. Do not delay. Study harder. You're going to build something new. It will inspire people you've never met. They will be happier because you did not give up. Run towards your success. Don't walk. No matter what you do and no matter how hard you work for any company, there's always going to be something inside of you that is more than what you're asked of. And getting more work and more projects is not the answer to realizing and fulfilling that part of you that knows you can do so much more. Sometimes work is not the place where you're going to shine and be able to shine at your 100%. A lot of people don't have jobs that require 100% of their capabilities, and they get frustrated because they try to channel all of that. And then they want more things to do, more people to help. And access to more work is not what people need. You need alignment with your skills, your talents, and your passions. But we're not taught to seek those things outside of a monetary exchange. We're not taught to nurture those things outside of the context of your employment. And that's where people miss out on opportunities to become more than what they see in front of them when they sit down in front of their laptop, in front of their computer at work. Building something new isn't really even what I was trying to do when I was becoming a founder. I was trying to fix a problem that I saw no one else addressing in a meaningful, immediate way. And I learned in corporate America, don't try to fix something without looking at what solutions have already been tried. Ask, what are we doing to fix this? What's been done in the past to try to remedy this? That cuts out so much frustration, so much lag, slowing things down. See what people have already tried and why it didn't work. When I was told why the bias issues in generative AI were not something that were taken serious or addressed on a larger scale, those answers weren't good enough for me. And that's why I built something new. You don't even have to be some genius creating something that you just woke up with a fantastic idea. Sometimes you just notice something you care about and you apply the skills that you've learned to figure out how to fix it. I'm not so much different than really anybody else. The only thing I did different was take a chance. The money will come. You will out earn your current salary in 2 years, nearly double. Trust your gifts. You will amplify Black genius that came before you, engineers, scientists. You'll even meet with them. They'll support you, believe in you, and stand beside you. Then you will do the same for others. Everything you wanted and more is coming. And what I mean and what I was thinking about when I wrote this is, of course, I'm looking for people who have built solutions, who have tried things before me. And I found so many incredible, amazing people who were trying to call out companies and address issues, and they were punished. They were fired. They were ignored. They were humiliated. They were told that they were dramatic, that their things that they were noticing just weren't even real. I can't even explain how frustrating that is to know that some of these scientists and engineers that I looked up to were not respected. And they came years before me, years. The fact that branching out and learning about them and just respecting their work and their efforts won me their support morally, intellectually, even in friendship in some cases. That is huge. And that is what is sitting on the other side of potentially just giving yourself a chance to explore some things that you might have in your back pocket you never imagined could come true. Keep trying, keep developing, keep looking ahead. Love yourself and give yourself grace. It won't be easy, but you're going to make it. You'll choose happiness and purpose for the first time. Remember, your new life will cost you your old one. Prepare to pay. I can't tell you what it's like to pay that cost because it's different for everyone. And I did a thing that a lot of people would consider absolutely reckless. I spent my severance and more on camera equipment, computers, hardware, hard drives, software, subscriptions. And you're seeing this video of me now. I'm still using all those things that I bought. It was worth it for me. And It's hard to describe the feeling I felt when I was taking that leap and making these purchases and trying to just bet on myself before I even had created or thought about creating anything. I had decided that these were the things that I needed to excel and share my voice. So, going back in time and really just thinking through what had happened and how I could maybe be more supportive in that moment when I was so devastated by job loss absolutely rocked my world. I could not sleep. I was not eating. Do you maybe it's hard to envision like what the way that these companies were letting you know, hey, you're not going to have a job. It was like 3 a.m. in the morning. And yeah, you were going to work the next day, but you're going to find out between 3 and 6 a.m., depending on where you live, even later or earlier. It wasn't normal. It's just not normal to even function that way with the grumblings and the rumors. And it is a huge stressor to not know. There was a point where I told my leadership, I'm not going to even work any harder than I already am because whatever the decision is, it's already been made. I remember going to an offsite and raising my hand in front of every person there and saying, according to this roadmap, if we were to succeed, none of us would have a job anymore. Dead silent. I was so right. I was so right. Oh, there's plenty of work to do. Don't worry about that. There's definitely so much work for you guys. We're going to be that department was obliterated. Scraps. Totally. And I was in research. This was not, we're going to find you something to do. No, you're going to work us until we become a solution so sharp that you don't need us anymore. And I was the only one to call that out and say it for what it was. I didn't even realize until I thought about it. That was some pretty ballsy shit to say. At and all. That was pretty bold, but I wasn't wrong. I was absolutely correct. And I've been right about a lot of things, but the number one thing I'm proud of being right about is betting on me. And I just want somebody out there to get a taste of what it's like to be on the other side of the therapy, the other side of the crying, the worrying, the deciding, do I spend my time looking for a job or do I spend my time making my own job? It is a serious decision and it is not a joke. But I urge you in this lifetime to at least consider that you could be in my shoes, especially if you're fortunate enough to get a severance. If you've got an idea or you have a business that you wanted to start, or you have the ability to invest in equipment that's going to help you get your voice out there and standardize your message, or feel like you have a platform and you can professionally show up to people, you might want to make an investment because it could pay off. And for the people in the comments that are telling me how they feel and how this resonated, I see you. I respect what you're going through, and I'm praying for you. Let's read some of the comments together. Let's look at this comment together. Aaron, this is such a powerful vision, statement, and testimony. So many of us mistake access for belonging. The badge, the building, the clients, the exclusivity makes us feel chosen, seen, validated. But I've had to learn that true belonging isn't about being let into someone else's system. It's about being aligned with who you are when no one is granting you permission. Losing the job or client can feel like losing your place, but sometimes it's the first step towards finding where you actually belong. Absolutely, 100%. That is exactly what I went through and exactly what so many of us are going through. This comment reads, I really needed to see this. I was in the same place, health declining, just to prove myself when I didn't need to. The work had been done over and over, and I kept letting it happen until I didn't. I moved away, started over, and the elevation was immediate. I bounced back in such an undeniable way, but sometimes life be life and too hard, and I begin to doubt myself. This post reminded me why I shouldn't have, and everything that has become proof of my alignment. Gratitude to you for sharing your story so openly and vulnerably. I'm going to keep this saved for future reference. People are hurting. People need to see positive things. They need to see encouragement. They need to see what things could be like if they choose something different. This comment reads, this picture is amazing and so real. I see this as my me too, because I know this story only all too well. Going to work at 8, home by 8:30, after a 7-minute walk home from work, working Sunday through Friday, then hopping on my work laptop Saturday for a quick 4 to 5 hours. Just giving away my genius, never knowing there was another way, another plan. But today, I know it all too well, and I've learned the lessons about boundaries. Thank you for this message. You're going to build something new. Everything you wanted and more is coming means more than you know. Some people wonder why I get vulnerable on the internet, why I share these stories and really tell all my business. And it's because it matters. Transparency is a currency. I care not just about my next opportunity, but the next opportunity to help other people see more opportunity for themselves. I don't feel like I'm doing my job unless I'm bringing other people with me. When I first got into tech, I was a recruiter. My whole job was to uplift other people and train them on how to interview successfully, help them get their resume noticed, put it in front of the hiring manager, and position them for success. My whole career began because I cared about other people's success. That doesn't stop just because I've found some of my own. And that is why I continue to make posts like this and to meet new people and relate to them. And I just want to say that I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the conversation. I read every single comment and I'm here for you. And I appreciate being vulnerable together. Now, I'm not at the end of my journey. I'm trying different things. I'm trying to get more into video. I'm trying to figure out what that means for me. Like, do I want to do things exactly like the people who I admire the most, or do I want to do things my way? What feels natural? What's easy? I'll tell you the truth. I just sat here for, I don't know, 2 hours trying to recreate this version of YouTube style that I like, and I just couldn't do it. But I sat down and I made this video like that because this is my truth. This is my real stream of consciousness, if you will. It's not a script. It's definitely not AI. It's real life experience, raw and unfiltered, for the sake of others being able to feel as empowered as I do to use their voices as well. And maybe that's the kind of content that I'm going to be making. And maybe this is where it all starts. But I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me to kind of talk about this post and the reactions that it was getting. Long term unemployment is real, it's out of this world, and sometimes it just might be worth exploring path that's a little bit less chartered. And I encourage you to do that. All right. See you guys later.